Burkina Faso remains one of Africa's best-kept secrets, a land where ancient traditions and modern surprises collide in the most unexpected ways. Discover 14 unbelievable facts about Africa's most surprising nation. Burkina Faso women prefer French romance style. In Burkina Faso's urban centers, a fascinating cultural fusion defines modern dating, where West African traditions blend seamlessly with French romantic influences. Educated Burkinabe women, especially in cities like Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso, increasingly favor the Parisian approach to courtship. Think candlelit wine bars, handwritten love notes, and philosophical conversations over Café Touba. This isn't mere mimicry, it's a deliberate embrace of sophisticated egalitarianism. Where rural suitors might lead with dowry negotiations, urban men are expected to master the art of l'amour à la française, complementing a woman's intellect, planning surprise picnics by the Comoé River, and proving commitment through patience rather than paternalistic gestures. The French colonial legacy left more than just language. It reshaped social codes. Burkinabe women now often reject overt displays of wealth, common in traditional courtship, for understated elegance. A first date might involve debating Senegalese filmmaker Ousmane Sembène's work at an artsy cafe, not flaunting expensive gifts. Yet the fusion isn't complete westernization. Local twists endure. A man might recite Victor Hugo, but still seek his aunt's approval before proposing, or pair Bordeaux wine with poulet bicyclette, street-style grilled chicken. This hybrid romance appeals to women navigating dual identities, globally savvy but rooted in Mossi or Fulani heritage. Critics argue this trend excludes Burkina's rural majority, where 80% of marriages remain arranged. Yet even villages feel the ripple effect. Mobile internet exposes young women to French dating norms, sparking quiet rebellions, like insisting on chaperone cafe dates instead of cattle-based dowries. For Burkinabe women, the French romance model isn't about rejecting their culture. It's about curating autonomy. They demand partners who can quote Léopold Sédar Senghor and respect their careers, a delicate balance that's redefining love in one of Africa's most dynamic societies. The country was renamed by a revolution. In 1984, the world was captivated by the remarkable transformation of a relatively unknown West African nation, Upper Volta, now known as Burkina Faso. Leading this bold change was Thomas Sankara, an audacious and visionary revolutionary who ascended to power at the age of 33. One of his first acts was to rename the country, infusing it with new identity and pride. Burkina Faso, derived from two local languages, means land of incorruptible people. This was more than a mere rebranding. It was a powerful declaration against the shadows of colonialism, a rallying cry for African dignity, self-sufficiency, and unity. Sankara's vision ignited hope and inspired a generation, making history in the heart of Africa. But Sankara wasn't your typical head of state. Alongside his military fatigues, he carried a guitar and often played at rallies and cultural events to connect with the people. His government outlawed luxury cars for officials and replaced them with modest Renault 5s, the cheapest car in the country at the time. He cut the salaries of ministers, refused personal perks, and walked the talk when it came to dismantling elitism. Even the national budget went through radical change, prioritizing healthcare, vaccination, education, and infrastructure over extravagance. Perhaps most inspiring was Sankara's vision for the rural majority. He redistributed land from feudal landlords directly to peasants and launched an ambitious campaign for food self-sufficiency. His environmental policies included planting millions of trees to combat desertification. They celebrate a festival where people wear scary masks. In the heart of Burkina Faso lies the city of Bobo-Dioulasso, where ancient traditions come alive in ways that are both eerie and deeply spiritual. Every year, the streets and village squares are transformed into stages for the mask festivals, ceremonies that go far beyond entertainment. Villagers don haunting, hand-carved wooden masks, some with distorted faces, horns, or animalistic features, and take part in hypnotic dances that swirl with dust, rhythm, and mysticism. To an outsider, it might feel like a scene from a horror film, but to the people of Bobo-Dioulasso, it's a sacred event, a direct channel to the spirits of nature and their ancestors. The dancers, often young men specially trained in secret societies, are believed to be possessed by the spirits the masks represent. They perform ritualistic movements to invoke rain, protect the harvest, and chase away evil forces. These ceremonies are especially crucial during the dry season, when every drop of water is a matter of survival. The masks themselves aren't merely decorative. Each one holds meaning. Some symbolize fertility, while others represent protection, and many symbolize animals or forest spirits. The energy is intense, the drumming relentless, and the atmosphere. What makes the tradition even more fascinating is its strong link to community identity. Families often pass down masks and rituals through generations, preserving both artistic craftsmanship and spiritual beliefs. Tourists who attend are often stunned, not just by the visual spectacle, but by the unshakable belief that these masks can influence the forces of nature. In the modern world, this deep-rooted connection between art, ancestry, and agriculture feels surreal and absolutely unforgettable. You can find sacred crocodiles that people sit on. In the quiet village of Bassoulé, just outside Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, something unbelievable happens every day. People casually walk up to live crocodiles, feed them chickens, whisper blessings, and even pose on their backs, all without fear. These aren't trained zoo animals. They're wild, full-grown reptiles that are considered sacred by the local Mossi people. According to legend, these crocodiles once saved villagers during a drought by leading them to water, earning their eternal respect. Since then, the reptiles have become symbols of protection, fertility, and spiritual guidance. What's astonishing is the peaceful coexistence between humans and these powerful predators. The crocodiles at Bassoulé roam freely around the sacred pond, basking in the sun, completely unbothered by curious visitors and even playful children. Villagers say the animals are protected by ancestral spirits, and harming one, even by accident, is considered a serious taboo. Locals believe that these crocodiles have a spiritual connection to their ancestors and often consult them through rituals and offerings when seeking blessings for marriage, childbirth, or a good harvest. For the brave, guides will lead you close enough to touch or even sit on a crocodile's back, an experience that feels more like a dream than reality. But don't get any wild ideas. This is a sacred tradition, not a tourist gimmick. The calm behavior of the crocodiles is regarded as a spiritual miracle, not something to be tested or provoked. Here they're not monsters. They're guardians, ancestors, and silent witnesses to centuries of local history. People have a drum language that speaks better than texting. Deep in the rural landscapes of Burkina Faso, long before mobile phones reached the region, people were already sending messages across miles with drums. These weren't just any drums. Known as talking drums, they are carefully crafted to mimic the tones and rhythms of human speech, especially in tonal languages like Moor and Dioula. A skilled drummer can speak entire phrases, names, greetings, or warnings by hitting specific patterns that villagers understand instinctively. What's mind-blowing is that the sound can travel faster and farther than a text message in places with no signal. The technique behind this ancient communication tool is as impressive as it is poetic. Since many African languages rely on pitch and tone to convey meaning, the talking drum reproduces this by altering drum pitch, tempo, and rhythm. Two villages might be miles apart, but a drummer can summon someone, warn of danger, announce a birth, or invite people to a ceremony, all without saying a word out loud. And yes, it's way more reliable than a dropped call or buffering internet in the bush. Elders say that a well-played message on the drum can spark emotion, just like spoken language or song. Today, talking drums are still used during festivals, funerals, and major community events, but in some remote places, they remain a practical form of long-distance communication, especially where modern infrastructure is weak. The capital city was named after a war chief's horse. The name Ouagadougou might sound like a playful tongue twister, but it carries layers of history, legend, and cultural pride. While it now translates to "you are welcome here at home" in the local Ninsi dialect, the origin of the name is steeped in a legendary tale involving a powerful war chief and his beloved horse. According to oral tradition, the area was once ruled by a fierce leader whose horse played a critical role in battle and guidance. After a victorious campaign, the horse reportedly led the chief to the fertile lands where the city now stands. And that's where he decided to settle. Locals say the chief named the site after his horse as a tribute to its loyalty and spiritual connection. Over time, the name evolved through the region's complex linguistic history, merging with local expressions and dialects until it became the unique and rhythmic Ouagadougou. The story may sound mythical, but in Burkina Faso, such oral traditions carry deep weight, shaping the identity of communities and honoring the animals, ancestors, and events that shape their world. In a culture where stories are passed down through generations, a horse isn't just a mode of transport, it can be a sacred guide and symbol of destiny. Today, Ouagadougou, or Ouaga as locals affectionately call it, is the beating heart of Burkina Faso, filled with bustling markets, music, and a thriving art scene. But beneath the city's lively surface lies the memory of a war chief and the horse that led him home. No Starbucks, McDonald's, or KFC, and people like it that way. In a world dominated by glowing signs of Starbucks, McDonald's, and KFC, Burkina Faso stands out as a delicious exception. The capital city of Ouagadougou and its surrounding towns have remained refreshingly untouched by fast food giants. You won't find a Big Mac or a Frappuccino here, and honestly, most locals are just fine with that. Instead, people head to vibrant street stalls and roadside grills, where the scent of sizzling meat, spices, and charcoal fills the air. It's not just food, it's a sensory experience deeply tied to community, tradition, and flavor. One of the most popular local delicacies is the brochette, a skewered meat grilled to perfection and served with spicy onions and a tangy sauce. Then there's fufu, a starchy staple made from yam, cassava, or plantain, served alongside flavorful stews. For a drink, nothing beats a cup of freshly blended mango juice, especially when mangoes are in season and practically fall from the trees. What makes Burkina Faso's food culture so powerful is its resilience to globalization. While many countries have traded their traditional meals for fast food convenience, Burkina Faso has held on to its culinary roots. It's not about rejecting the modern world, it's about preserving what makes local life meaningful. Meals here aren't rushed, they're shared, enjoyed, and made with ingredients from just around the corner. In a time where the same brands pop up in every city across the globe, Burkina Faso reminds us how beautiful and tasty it is to stay local, and that sometimes the best food in the world doesn't come in a branded paper bag. There's a village where everyone has the same last name. In the remote village of Tiabale, near the southern border of Burkina Faso, something remarkable happens before anyone even speaks. Everyone already knows your last name. That's because nearly all the residents belong to the royal Kassena clan and share the same surname. It's not a coincidence. It's a reflection of deep cultural lineage and ancestral ties that have bound the village together for centuries. In a world where diversity is often marked by names and backgrounds, Tiabale is a stunning example of unity through shared identity, where the surname is more than a name, it's a symbol of belonging. What makes Tiabale even more fascinating is the incredible art and architecture that surrounds this sense of family. The houses are small, clay structures with rounded edges and hand-painted geometric patterns, which have earned them international attention. Women of the Kassena clan create these intricate designs using natural pigments and dyes, telling stories of lineage, protection, and cultural pride through each brushstroke. The homes are not just shelters, they're living works of art, renewed and repainted regularly as part of tradition and respect for the ancestors who once lived within their walls. Because the village is composed almost entirely of extended family, Tiabale functions like a tight-knit cultural time capsule. Rituals, language, food, and even architecture have been preserved with astonishing purity. Elders pass down oral history with pride, children grow up knowing their roots intimately, and visitors are often struck by how deeply connected everything feels. In a world rapidly losing its cultural anchors, Tiabale stands out as a rare gem, a place where a shared surname connects not just people, but past, present, and future in one beautifully painted village tucked away in the hills of Burkina Faso. They hunt with giant bows and wear fetish amulets for luck. In the rural heartlands of Burkina Faso, far from modern hunting rifles and GPS trackers, Some hunters still walk into the wild armed with giant handmade bows and arrows. These bows aren't just tools. They're works of craftsmanship, often taller than the hunter himself, made from local wood and strung with strong animal sinew. Their size gives them serious range and power, allowing hunters to take down game in dense forests or open savanna. But hunting here is more than survival or sport. It's a spiritual ritual deeply entwined with belief, tradition, and ancestral respect. Before heading into the bush, hunters often prepare by donning fetish amulets, which are bundles of leather, bone, beads, or carved animal parts worn around the neck, arms, or waist. These amulets are believed to offer supernatural protection, enhance strength, sharpen senses, or even make the wearer invisible to wild animals. Many are made by traditional spiritual leaders and passed down through generations, infused with spiritual power and ancestral blessings. A single amulet might carry the prayers of a father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, making it far more than just a lucky charm. It's a legacy. Even today, these traditional hunters are respected figures in their communities. They not only provide food, but also perform rituals, track lost animals, or guard villages from dangers both seen and unseen. Their knowledge of the land, seasons, and animal behavior is vast, and their faith in the power of their amulets is unshakable in a country where old ways and modern life constantly intersect. These bow-wielding, amulet-wearing hunters remain symbols of resilience, identity, and spiritual depth, electric with both reverence and fear, reminding the world that true protection sometimes comes not from technology, but from belief passed through bloodlines and tradition. You might hear 70+ languages in one country. Burkina Faso is a vibrant mosaic of languages, making it one of the most linguistically diverse countries in Africa. While French serves as the official language, a remnant of its colonial past, it's just the tip of the iceberg in a nation where over 70 indigenous languages thrive. From bustling markets in Ouagadougou to remote villages nestled in the hills, you might hear a dizzying array of tongues weaving through conversations, storytelling, and daily life. This rich tapestry reflects the country's diverse ethnic groups, each with its unique language, traditions, and history. Among the most widely spoken are Moor, the language of the Mossi people, who form the largest ethnic group, and Dioula, a trade language common in markets and among merchants. Then there's Fula, spoken by the Fulani herders who roam the savanna, and Gourmandchema, used by the Gourmandche people in the eastern regions. These languages aren't just tools for communication. They carry cultural wisdom, folklore, and identity that have been preserved and passed down for centuries. In many cases, language determines social ties, rituals, and community belonging, making it a vital part of life beyond mere words. This linguistic diversity is both a treasure and a challenge. It enriches cultural diversity, but also requires a careful balance in education, governance, and media to ensure inclusion. Schools teach primarily in French, which can be a barrier for many children who speak a local language at home. Yet Burkina Faso's people navigate this multilingual world with ease, often switching between languages within a single conversation. It's a beautiful living example of how language shapes identity and connects communities. There's a festival where dancers dress as animals and trees. During the Naba festival in Burkina Faso, the boundaries between the natural world and the spiritual realm seem to dissolve as dancers wear elaborate costumes representing bush animals, mystical spirits, and even trees. These aren't just ordinary costumes. They are painstakingly crafted from natural materials like leaves, bark, feathers, and animal hides. As the music pulses through the village, the dancers move in a trance-like state, believed to channel the energy of ancestors and nature spirits. Watching this spectacle is both eerie and mesmerizing, as if you're witnessing an ancient ritual where the past and present collide in a burst of life and color. The festival is more than just a performance. It's a deeply spiritual event that connects the community to their roots and the forces that govern the natural world around them. Each animal or tree costume carries symbolic meaning. The animals might represent strength, cunning, or protection, while the trees symbolize life, growth, and endurance. The dancers don't just mimic these beings, they embody their spirits, believed to bring blessings, fertility, and harmony to the land. The trance state isn't merely for show, it's a sacred experience where the dancers become vessels for ancestral voices, reminding the community of their history and their ongoing relationship with nature. For outsiders, the Nabaska festival can feel both surreal and powerful. The combination of intricate costumes, rhythmic drumming, and the dancers' intense movements creates an atmosphere charged with mystery and reverence. Witchcraft accusations still happen, with villages for the accused. In certain rural parts of Burkina Faso, the age-old fear of witchcraft remains deeply embedded in local beliefs, especially targeting vulnerable groups like older women. When someone is accused of practicing witchcraft, the reaction can be swift and harsh, often fueled by fear, superstition, or social tensions. To protect these accused individuals from violent mobs or ostracization, special settlements known as witch camps have emerged. These camps act as both a refuge and a form of exile, providing a place where accused witches can live apart from their communities while escaping immediate harm. Life in these camps is harsh and isolating, but it offers a vital layer of safety in a society where accusations can spiral into brutal consequences. The residents maintain their fragile communities, relying on the kindness of relatives or charitable visitors for survival. While the camps shield them from mob violence, they also reinforce the stigma of witchcraft, keeping these individuals marginalized and disconnected from their families. For many accused women, the camps represent a bittersweet compromise: safety at the cost of social exclusion and a life marked by fear and suspicion. The existence of witch camps is a chilling reminder of how deep-rooted beliefs and fears can shape human lives even today. They highlight the ongoing challenges Burkina Faso faces in balancing tradition and modern human rights. Efforts by local organizations and international groups are underway to address these accusations and support the reintegration of accused women into their communities. However, until widespread education and cultural shifts take hold, these camps remain a stark symbol of the powerful grip superstition still holds in certain parts of the country. Traditional music is played using weird instruments. In Burkina Faso, traditional music doesn't rely on modern instruments like guitars or standard drums. Instead, musicians create rich, soulful melodies using unique instruments made from natural materials like calabash gourds and animal skins. Two of the most iconic instruments are the balafon and the kora. The balafon is a wooden xylophone with wooden keys mounted over hollow calabash gourds that act as resonators, producing warm, earthy tones. The kora, on the other hand, is a harp lute crafted from a large calabash cut in half and covered with cow skin, with strings stretched over it, creating a delicate and haunting sound that is instantly recognizable across West Africa. What makes these instruments so special is their deep connection to nature and tradition. The calabash gourds used in their construction are carefully selected and dried to amplify sound perfectly, while the animal skins provide a natural membrane that adds resonance and depth. When played, the balafon's wooden keys produce rhythmic patterns that feel both ancient and lively, while the kora's strings weave intricate melodies that tell stories of history, love, and heroism. These sounds have been passed down through generations of griots, West African storytellers and musicians, who use music to preserve oral history and cultural identity. Listening to the balafon and kora is like stepping into a world where music breathes with the land itself. Their haunting, earthy tones create an atmosphere that feels spiritual and timeless, reminding everyone that traditional music is more than entertainment. It's a living expression of Burkina Faso's cultural soul. These instruments capture the spirit of the people and the landscapes they call home, making every note a journey into West Africa's heart. People eat termites. In Burkina Faso, you might be surprised to learn that termites are not just pests, but a popular and highly prized delicacy, especially after the seasonal rains. When termite swarms emerge in huge numbers, locals gather eagerly to catch these tiny insects by the handful. Fried termites are celebrated for their crunchy texture and nutty flavor, making them a favorite snack for both kids and adults alike. Far from being a last resort food, Termites are considered a special treat and often enjoyed straight from the fire or lightly salted for extra taste. Termites offer more than just unique flavor. They're also a rich source of protein and essential nutrients, making them an important part of the local diet. In areas where access to meat is limited or expensive, termites offer an affordable and sustainable alternative. Catching them requires skill and timing. Villagers carefully wait for the swarms, then use containers or even bare hands to collect the insects before quickly frying them in oil. Eating termites may sound unusual to outsiders, but in Burkina Faso, it's a cultural tradition that highlights the resourcefulness and close relationship between people and their environment. This crunchy delicacy is more than just food. It's a celebration of the rainy season and the abundance it brings. So, next time you hear about edible insects, remember that in Burkina Faso, termites are not just bugs. They're a beloved snack that brings communities together, one crunchy bite at a time.